So much so that I had to ask around. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of a nice guy, right?
Hacker is an ass.
I try, as I'm getting into my old age at 39 years old, try not to let things bother me. Just know that I'm ultra soft.
And he doesn't shy away from opinions.
See Baker Mayfield throw 4 passes, but I get to see this homeless guy return a ball for a touchdown.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Oh, yeah. Week 11 of the National Football League. Moments away, and after just dog games on Thursday nights the last couple of weeks, boy, we got a good one, ladies and gentlemen, tonight in Baltimore, Maryland. The 7-3 Baltimore Ravens hosting the 5-4 Cincinnati Bengals in what all of a sudden now is a must-win for Joe Burrow and Cincinnati. And a Cincinnati win tonight, coupled with a Jacksonville win on Sunday. And the Jaguars, despite last week, would all of a sudden be back on the 2 seed in the AFC playoff picture. With that, a very good evening, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. We are glad you are spending part of your Thursday evening with us as we will keep you updated on Cincinnati and Baltimore. Kickoff is about 15 minutes away. Coming up tonight in the 8 o'clock hour, we are loaded guest-wise as we usually are this time of year. My friend Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every day on primetime. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Big Leon's going to join us in about 15 minutes to preview the Jaguars and the Titans. Later on in the 8 o'clock hour, we will go to Gainesville. Jacob Rudner, 247sports.com. Florida's losing commitments left and right. Florida is a double-digit underdog in Columbia, Missouri, and Florida's going to have to pull a gigantic upset to become bowl eligible. But other than that, everything's going great with the University of Florida football program. We'll talk about all of it. Jacob Rudner's one of our guys in Gainesville, and he joins us in about 35 minutes. But as we do every night, to kick it off here on Hacker After Dark, we give you a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
We've been waiting very patiently, right? Week after week after week for over a month now. When will it be the week that Jacksonville's offense puts it all together? Trevor Lawrence has numerous touchdown passes. ETN rushes for 100 yards. And Jacksonville puts it all together and wins a game comfortably, particularly here at Everbank Stadium. Hasn't happened since the Colts game, which was a month ago now, over a month ago. I think it happens on Sunday. I think this is the week, coming off that utter embarrassing loss to San Francisco. I think Jacksonville puts it together against a Tennessee team that is just going through the motions, particularly on offense at this point. I think Jacksonville gets back in the win column, and I think this is finally the week that Trevor Lawrence has one of those 250-yard, 3-touchdown performances. If I'm wrong, I'll own up to it on Monday. But I think this is the week that Jacksonville puts it all together. I like Jacksonville to win relatively easily on Sunday to get to 7-3, to all but eliminate Tennessee from the AFC South race. I think Houston's going to beat Arizona. And I think after this weekend, a week from Sunday, you're going to have the 7-3 Jaguars traveling to the 6-4 Houston Texans in a game that could very well decide the AFC South. That's what I'm going with. I like Jacksonville relatively easy on Sunday. I'll say 2 touchdowns plus is what they beat the Titans by, and some of that bad taste, that bad feeling from the San Francisco just ridiculous effort last week kind of goes away. It was interesting this week listening not only to Doug Peterson, not only to the players, but to the coordinators today. Press Taylor, the OC, Mike Caldwell, the DC. Mike Caldwell earlier today was asked about that game last week. And he said it's one of those games that you don't really watch again. He said it looked like there were imposters out there. That wasn't us. Whoa. Calling his defense imposters last week. You look at Press Taylor, he held court today talking to the media. He was asked about the narrative among defenses in the NFL now that if you take Trevor Lawrence's first read away, you can stop him. Kind of defended his guy a little bit. He said that's true for a lot of situations. There are a lot of questions coming out of last week. But as the narrative has been, at least the one that I've been portraying here on Hacker After Dark every night, I think most of you back on, what was it? 1st of September, right? Labor Day weekend. I think most of you, if I tell you 6-3 after 9 games, I tell you you're in first place in the AFC South, and you're currently 3rd on the AFC playoff chart, I think you would have taken that. Would some of you probably said, 6-3, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. But by and large, I think if you truly ask yourself, 9 games in, would you have taken 6-3? I think most of you would have. And keep in mind, you're 6-3. You got 2 games left against Tennessee, who enters this week at 3-6. You still got Carolina on the schedule. They're arguably the worst team in football. You still have Tampa on the schedule. They're not very good. Those are 4 games you will be the overwhelming favorite in. Then you go to Houston, right? Can't be swept by the Texans, can you? It's a big game. But that's 5 of your remaining 8. 2 Tennessees, a Carolina, a Tampa Bay, and a Houston. Let's say worst case scenario, you go 3-2, and that probably would be worst case scenario. Then that puts you at 9-5 with your last 3 games at Cleveland, who now no longer has Deshaun Watson, Cincinnati here, Baltimore here, both in prime time. I'm going to assume they're not going to win both of those games, but I don't think they lose both of them. I think they split Cincinnati-Baltimore. And if you split Cincinnati-Baltimore and you go 3-2 in your other 5 winnable games, well, now you're a 10-win team. And when you go to Cleveland and you play their backup quarterback, I'm sorry, you should win that game. But at the very worst, I'm thinking right now 10-7, potentially 11-6. And that's if things don't go your way in the second half. And if you're 10-7 or 11-6, you're AFC South champions, which means at the very minimum, you will get 1 home playoff game. And once you get in the playoffs, all bets are off, everybody's 0-0, and you have at it. So again, as bad as San Francisco was, 6-3 is a good spot to be in, and I get the feeling come Sunday night on the 5th quarter, or certainly Monday right here on Hacker After Dark, there is a much different feeling in this city because, again, I believe Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguar offense, this is the week, man. This is the week they will finally put it together. It wouldn't surprise me if the Jaguars get a couple of turnovers from a rookie quarterback in Will Levis to set their offense up in good shape. And I'll pick the Jaguars, I'll say 34-14. 34-14 Jacksonville as they right the ship and get back on the winning track. And it would do a lot of good for a lot of people. For the fan base, I know you guys want to see a win. For those of you that have not traveled on the road this year, for those of you that have not gone to London, you've seen 1 win. You've gone to Everbank Stadium 4 times, and they're 1-3. Jaguars owe the fans a victory here in Duval County. It would certainly do the players some good to erase what happened last week. And again, in the overall standings, it's crazy. As down as we've all been here in Jacksonville after getting the crap beat out of us 34-3 on Sunday, a Bengals win in Baltimore tonight and a Jaguar win on Sunday over the Titans, and the Jaguars are back to the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs. It can happen that quick. So let's root for Cincinnati tonight to put another loss on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. That game kicks off in moments, and we will certainly keep you updated. Again, former Jaguar offensive tackle Leon Searcy to break down the Jaguars and the Titans. He is coming up in a moment. I also want to talk a little college football in a little bit. Florida, a double-digit underdog at Missouri. Missouri is playing for a New Year's Six bowl game. If Missouri beats Florida and beats Arkansas, they're going to a New Year's Six bowl game. Gator fans, why do you care? Because Eli Drinkowitz was on the hot seat in Columbia, Missouri 6 months ago. They stuck with him. And now Missouri is reaping the benefit. So I no longer need to just use the Mike Norvell comparison as to why to stick with a head coach. I can now use the Eli Drinkowitz comparison. From a hot seat at Missouri to 2 wins away from a New Year's Six bowl game. It's amazing what happens when you let it play out and you give a coach some time. I know Florida, and you're not very accustomed to giving coaches time, but obviously what you've been doing has not been working as of late. Maybe try something different. But we'll talk Florida, Missouri coming up later on with Jacob Rudner, 247sports.com. It is a Thursday evening in Jacksonville, Florida with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. A ton of football talk coming up until 10 o'clock tonight. We'll kick it off with my buddy Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle of the Jags, talking Titans, Jaguars, next on Hacker After Dark.
A weekend full of football starts Friday at 3.
Woo! Coming after you!
High school, college, Jaguars, and NFL.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Rehabilitation Football Friday night.
And that's football!
On 1010XL.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Not looking forward to cooking that big Thanksgiving meal? Bellwether in downtown Jacksonville has got you covered. Pick up your meal to go on November 21st and 22nd until 6 p.m. Bellwether offers dinner for 4, 2, or just 1. Just make your order by calling 802-7745. That's 802-7745. Orders must be made before the 18th. So take a break this Thanksgiving and have dinner from us. That's Bellwether, downtown Jacksonville.
Hey gang, Prosser here for Chad and Sandy. When it comes time to sell your home, those are the names you need to remember. Maybe you think you have a problem related to selling your home. Well, I can give you a promise. New for 2023, your home sold, guaranteed, or they will buy it at chadandsandy.com. I've got plenty of proof of the successes to tell you about. Maybe you need more space for your office or growing family. Well, Chad and Sandy are the only real estate experts I trust and recommend with the sale of your home. Okay? Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price at a deadline, or they will buy it. Jordan and Victoria live on the north side. They say, we wanted to move to a more family-friendly home with land and be close to our parents. We were ready to move, but anxious the market would move slow. Not for Chad and Sandy. Our home sold in 5 days for full asking price. Call the only agents we trust and guarantee. Call 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com. That's ChadAndSandy.com.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 16, 1957, University of Oklahoma's football NCAA win streak ends at 47 after losing 7-0 to Notre Dame at home.
Visionaries, builders, and doers, are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Do you have a septic tank at your home or business? You know the EPA recommends that your septic tank should be pumped out every 3 years, right? What about your drain field? Is it performing properly? Maybe it's time for a full septic system inspection. We're Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services, and we would love to help you with all of your septic needs. Give us a ring to get service scheduled ahead of the holidays. 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
The year is almost over. Do you need cash for the holidays or want to be credit card debt-free for the new year? Call Loan Pronto today. Their Express Equity line of credit can get you $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. Listen, if you have a ton of equity in your house, and Loan Pronto can help you turn that equity into cash, you can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards, pay off personal loans, or start that home improvement project. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact, so your 3% rate, it's protected. And with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line program, 90% of the time, there's no need for an appraisal. So you can get your money super fast. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards before the new year. Get yourself on solid financial footing before the year ends and call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal Housing Lender, NLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Golfers, when's the last time you played Cimarron? New ownership, improved greens, fairways, and tee boxes, a new clubhouse, interior, exterior, including the Stone and Barrel Tap House, indoor-outdoor bar, live music. Practice, learn, and play program is only $59 a month. Unlimited range balls, weekly clinic from teaching professionals. Golf every day, $25 after 2 o'clock. Whether you scratch or just like getting out with your buddies, you have to try the new Cimarron Golf Club on 210.
Be here and be loud as the Jaguars take on the Tennessee Titans Sunday, November 19th. Be at the bank for this divisional rivalry when Trevor Lawrence leads the team in an exciting matchup. Plus, join us as we celebrate Salute to Service and honor our military all game day long. Seats may be sold out, but a limited number of standing room only tickets are still available, so don't miss your chance to be there. Visit jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000 now.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Titans, Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL as the Jaguars look to rebound and get back on the right track after what was the most disappointing performance of the year last week in that loss to San Francisco. With that, my friend Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every day on Primetime, and you get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, how you doing?
I'm doing good, bro.
Leon, it's Titans week, and as you famously said last year, you hate the Titans, so we'll get to that in a moment. But, Leon, it's been a couple of days since just a beating at the hands of the 49ers. Take us inside the locker room this week. What do you believe the vibe is among the Jaguar players?
Well, I mean, listen, it was a great disappointment the way the team performed against the 49ers. They were outclassed, outcoached, out-physical, all those things. But the best thing about football is, man, after you watch the film and, kind of lick your wounds, man, you got another opportunity to redeem yourself. That's the best thing about playing at the National Football League. You look at it as badly as you looked against the 49er team, and then you could come back the next week. And if you win that game, all is forgiven, not only by the fans, but by yourself, because, the Jaguars have to be essentially honest with themselves. They're not as bad as they looked that Sunday against the 49ers. So it's important that it's incumbent upon this team to get back some of the things that they were successful with, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Offensively, they need to be more upbeat, more tempo, maybe run a little no huddle. Score a couple of easy points here, give the defense an opportunity to get after them defensively, and then all is right with the world again. So it was a terrible loss on Sunday to get the 49ers. 24-hour rule. You let it go, and then you get back to the business of ball, which I hope they did today, this Wednesday.
Leon, you're one of the best offensive linemen that's ever played here. I have concerns about the O-line. You're the guy to ask. How much are you concerned about what you saw last week?
Well, I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned about the way they played last week because, that team got, listen, as an offensive lineman, as a player in general, you hold a mantle on being tough. NFL is a physical, tough team, tough football, all that kind of stuff. The essential, you pride yourself on being tough. And when I'm watching that game against the 49ers, the offensive line got out physicaled. They got beat at the point of attack. All those things were essential to our success. And the offensive line was borderline soft, to be quite honest with you. So they've got to get back to being physical, getting after it. Listen, the offensive line is not equipped. In my assessment of watching them play over the last few weeks, man, my assessment, they're not a mauling offensive line. They're not the type of offensive line that you can line up and run, dives and zones. You've got, this is a big athletic offensive line. There should be a lot more moving parts with this team. A couple of sweeps, a couple of tosses, a couple of counters. Those are the type of things that I think essentially we do better. I think we need to be able to capitalize on the fact that we're not going to be able to maul you, but we're going to be able to use our athleticism to our advantage. That's just what I see. But yeah, that's running wise. Protection wise, you go up against Chase Young, you go up against Nick Bosa. Those are two handfuls. They don't have the so-called bookends, the Cam Robertsons, the Anton Harrisons. Man, they got exposed last week against two perennial pass rushers. And listen, you play this game long enough, you're going to get beat. You got to put that behind you. You got to learn from it, and you got to keep on going. So I'm hoping this offensive line, gets back to the business of being a lot more consistent, not only with their run blocking, but also with their pass protection.
Former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars, my friend Leon Searcy here with us on Hacker After Dark. Leon, turnovers are outrageous right now, man. They had 3 of them in Pittsburgh. It didn't matter because the defense played well enough to win. They had 2 in New Orleans, I believe, but likewise, the defense overcame that. And then they had 4, I believe, last week. They are turning the ball over at a crazy rate right now. What can be done about that?
Well, you've got to take care of the football. I've been in enough offensive meetings, especially with the offensive coordinator, and essentially he says turnovers kill you. Especially at this late. Listen, especially this late in the season when you're trying to make a push for the playoffs, you can't turn over the football. You're giving the other team opportunity to capitalize on a short field, or you're putting your defense in a predicament where they have to defend a short field. So, you can't do it. It's inexcusable. Turnovers, interceptions, fumbles, all those kind of things. You've got to protect the football. And, quite frankly, we haven't been doing a good job now on the defensive side of the ball. We've been doing a great job at it. Before we came into the game against the 49ers, we were leading the NFL in takeaways. But that 49er games, our defense didn't get any turnovers, and we caused 4. So that's -4, on our behalf. So offensively, and it's got to be frustrating for a defense that I thought in the first half had played well enough to where they kept us in the game. We were only down by 10 points, essentially on that first drive. They went right down the score, but after that, they just kicked 2 field goals, and our offense did virtually nothing. So it's got to be frustrating for the defense that's getting these takeaways and having to defend a short field because our offense is giving away the ball. Quite frankly, it's not fair for our defense to have to cover, our offense's back.
9 touchdown passes, Leon, in 9 games. Do you have concerns about Trevor Lawrence right now?
I do. He's not playing well. He's not playing well at all. He's got to play a lot better. Trevor's got to learn that the second and third level throws don't always have to be made. Sometimes the first level throws can be made. And when I say first level throws, I'm talking about your 3 to 5s. Trevor is more concerned with those 7 to 10s or those 15 to 20s because he's looking downfield to make a big play. But when you're getting harassed the way he was getting harassed in that game, you got to take those one-level throws. You got to get rid of the football. You got to give your offensive line the capabilities. I mean, they struggled a bit. Everybody on that front foot struggled. But if you know they're struggling, how do you complement? How do you make it better for them? You get rid of the football. You throw the lower tier level passes just to your check downs, to your quick curls, all those type of things. I think he's looking too far down the field and trying to make the big plays. And sometimes you just got to just take that one level throw. You're not always going to make that second and third level throw in this game.
Couple of more for former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. Leon, is it a coincidence that the Jaguars are 5-0 outside of Duval County, and they're now 1-3 at Everbank Stadium, including 2 flat-out embarrassing performances against Houston and against San Francisco? We're so caught up in playoff seeding, right? It's all about getting the highest seed imaginable for home field. Well, home field hasn't been a lick, Leon, right now. The Jaguars clearly are better outside of Jacksonville than they are inside.
Yeah, I mean, it's inexcusable to be quite honest with you. I mean, any coach that I played against, that I played for, I mean, your hometown was your turf. You repped your turf. You repped your county. You repped where you played at, and you played well in front of your fans because you wanted to be representing what Duval County is all about. And quite frankly, this team has not repped Duval. Has not given it its just due because they can't win at home. They can't win a meaningful game here in Jacksonville since last year. And they've got to rectify that. I mean, because seeding is going to absolutely mean nothing if this team is going to make the playoffs because they don't play well at home. They absolutely haven't played well at home. They're 1-3 right now at home. And then the 2 games that, the 2 heavyweight fights that they went up against, they fell short. So, quite frankly, I mean, the seeding essentially means nothing to us as far as home games go because we haven't played well at all at home. So we need to rectify that. If you want to be the 2, the 3, the 4 seed in the playoffs and get you a home playoff game, you got to, quite frankly, you got to play a lot better at home. You got to rep Duval and Jacksonville a lot better than they've been doing it over the last few weeks because, I mean, it's inexcusable. Quite frankly, it's embarrassing that they haven't lived up to the standards of playing Jacksonville football here in Jacksonville.
Leon, as we begin to wrap up, you famously said last year in that hype video prior to the AFC South Championship game that you hate the Titans, right? And it's Titan week. I almost think it's a good thing they're playing Tennessee because I'm not really worried about a hangover effect because it is the hated Tennessee Titans coming in on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I still have those sentiments. I absolutely hate the Titans. I hate them for what they cost me about 23 years ago. An opportunity to go to my second Super Bowl and kind of redeem myself, after losing the Super Bowl in Pittsburgh against the Cowboys. So that's where my venom comes from. But yeah, listen, getting up for this game shouldn't be hard. I mean, these 2 franchises absolutely do not like each other. And that's good for football. That's good. You got to embrace that hate. And I hope this team is going in like that because, listen, the Titans right now are, quite frankly, they're struggling a bit. They're 3-6. They're not playing Titan football. But if you think they're going to come in here and lay it down for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I mean, you got another thing coming. This team is going to come in there. They're going to do whatever they can to be spoilers and do whatever they can to wreck shop and your opportunity to for the divisions or even to make the playoffs. Hell, we did it to them. We cost them an opportunity to not only win the division, but to make the playoffs. So I mean, I'm not saying this is a revenge game for them, but I just know that there's enough talent on that Titan team, especially up the defensive front, that they could cause problems. Hell, listen, if it wasn't for a strip fumble against Dobbs, in the wee moments of that game, I'm not sure we're celebrating the Jaguars' playoff berth. So we had to do some miraculous stuff to win a game against a third-string quarterback. So we can't take this team lightly. We got to understand that they may be struggling, but they still got some quality guys on their team. And quite frankly, it's the Titans, and we hate them. So I hope we play accordingly.
Leon, final question. I mean, obviously the Jaguars, when you take a step back, they're 6-3. They're third in the AFC as the time you and I are talking right now. They still lead the division. Now, Houston, boy, that's a big one next week, but you got to take advantage of this opportunity against Tennessee. It's all still right in front of you. Whether you lose by 30 or by 1, that Niner game only counts as one loss. You got to get over it quick. The game will be at 1 o'clock on Sunday. You and I and Dave Campo will have the fifth quarter 2 hours after the game on Sunday evening. What are we talking about, Leon? Who wins the game, Jacksonville or Tennessee?
Well, man, I look at both rosters. I look at both teams. I believe we have the more talented roster. Now, that doesn't always mean a lot when you go into a game and if you're not prepared to beat a team that's really struggling. But I think this Jacksonville team bounces back. I think they learned the lesson against the 49ers that they've got to get back to their winning ways. They got to get back to being tough and physical and getting after it. And Trevor's got to do a better job at getting rid of the football and taking what's given to them, not always trying to make plays down the field. I think defensively, I think the Tennessee Titans, they're not well equipped up front to protect the pass or even run the ball. Even though Derrick Henry is probably having one of the better years he had in a very long time, despite playing behind a very dysfunctional offensive line. I think our defensive front gets after it. I think Will Levis, he's a rookie, inspiring rookie, but I think he turns the ball over. I think we take advantage of his inexperience as a defensive front. I think offensively we take care of the football. We run the ball. We take our shots down the field. And I think essentially, when it's all said and done, I think the Jaguars win. I think we're going to win 27-10.
That would be awesome, and that would kind of erase the bad taste in our mouths from that San Francisco game last Sunday. Leon Searcy, you get him every day on Prime Time. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark, and you also get him on the fifth quarter with Dave Campo and myself 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Titans go final this Sunday evening. Leon, thank you, my friend. I'll see you on Sunday.
You got it.
There you go, Leon Searcy here with us every week on Hacker After Dark. He and I are on the same page. A convincing win for the Jaguars on Sunday, a game where Jacksonville's offense gets back on track. Again, I think this is the game we've been waiting for. I think Trevor Lawrence, 230, 40 yards, numerous touchdown passes. They kind of put it all together, and I think they may put one on the hated Tennessee Titans. Week 11 of the National Football League is underway. Baltimore marched right down the field, punched it in with a Gus Edwards touchdown. Cincinnati responds with an Evan McPherson field goal midway through the first quarter. Baltimore 7, Cincinnati 3, almost a must-win game for the Bengals as far as the AFC North goes. If Cincinnati loses this game, they are essentially 4 games back of Baltimore with only 7 games remaining. So they are not going to make that up if they lose tonight. So if Cincinnati wants any hopes of the AFC North Championship, they got to win the game tonight in Baltimore. There is no doubt about that. We will keep you updated. Coming up next, we're going to get back into the world of the National Football League in the 9 o'clock hour. But I want to devote some time to college ball, particularly the Florida Gators. They are a double-digit underdog Saturday night at Missouri. They're going to be a big underdog a week from Saturday when Florida State rolls in for the season finale. They're losing people on the recruiting trail. They've had 3 decommitments this week alone. What is going on in Gainesville? What's the vibe over there? With only 2 games to go, and they got to find a way to win one of them to just get bowl eligible. Jacob Rudner, 247sports.com, covering the Florida Gators. He is next. Hacker After Dark on a Thursday night in Jacksonville, Florida. And as always, we are glad you are with us.
You got to feel the pain and embarrassment. That's what it is. It's terrible.
That is tipped, an interception, and that's a disaster.
But you got to flush it too.
These are great opportunities for me to coach this football team.
There's things out there on every play that we're all doing where we can be better.
I think our players will rebound. They always have.
We're going to move on, and we're going to get ready for Tennessee. That's the biggest game of the year is our next one.
It's back at the bank for a big one against a division rival. Jaguars Titans, Sunday at 1 on the home of the Jaguars. 1010XL.
Say big at Key Buick GMC, like $14,500 off all new GMC trucks. Need some low APR rates? Key Buick GMC has them. 0.9% for 36 months, 3.3% for 48 months, 4.3% for 60 months, 5.75% for 72 months. No payments up to 120 days. As always, whenever you purchase a brand new vehicle from Key Buick GMC, it comes with the lifetime powertrain warranty. Across the street from Tinseltown, Southside and Gate.
This holiday season, sit back and enjoy your time with family and friends. But if you have relatives who always point out the stains in your garage, or friends who talk about the cracks in your patio, we're here to help. Shark Coatings can coat your garage, patio, or driveway before those folks come over for holiday dinner. So now, instead of politics and religion, you can talk about how Shark Coatings transformed your home before the pumpkin pie is served. Shark Coatings, we're ready when you are.
At ABBQ, they are turning up the heat this football season like no other. Picture this, 15 massive TVs strategically placed throughout the restaurant so you won't miss a single touchdown. Step into their huge outdoor area where the excitement of the game meets the fresh air. Here's the kicker, and this is a big one for me. They got the sound on blast throughout the restaurant for the whole game. Your destination for mouth-watering barbecue and an unforgettable game day. ABBQ, meet and drink with us.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Mia O'Brien.
Don't I know you from somewhere?
On XL Primetime from noon to 3, on Helmets and Heels Tuesday nights.
I swear to you, I know her.
And you can follow me on the 1010XL video and social media channels.
I would know her voice anywhere.
All Things Mia is driven by Arlington Toyota.
To be our best selves, we need to take care of our whole self. That includes your spirit, mind, and your body. At the First Coast YMCA, our members find balance in spirit, mind, and body with unlimited group exercise classes, adult sports league, health coaching, and programs designed for chronic disease prevention. And when the Jaguars win, you win. We're waiving the joining fee the day after a Jaguars win, all season long. Use promo code DUVAL or visit the First Coast YMCA near you and find your why at fcymca.org.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Men suffering from ED or PE, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center. For a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. You'll even get a gift that enhances performance in the bedroom. Call 904-664-8217.
Pastor Joby Martin here with the Church of 1122. We are honored once again to partner with the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for the Great Futures Weekend, which includes golf and Mackenzie's 5K run at the esteemed TPC Stadium course. Help us continue to honor Mackenzie Wilson's legacy. That's Friday and Saturday, November 17th and 18th. You can golf or you can run. It'll be a great time. Additional info at MackenzieRun.org. Proceeds go to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at CRM Jax. HomeStar.org.
The 5-Star Veterans Center of Jacksonville is the place homeless veterans can go to recover, recharge, retrain, and reconnect. Learn more at 5starveteranscenter.org.
Her Song is a nonprofit organization that breaks the cycle of human trafficking through survivor care, victim outreach, and education. Find out how you can help at hersong.org.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Wood floors should make your home look cozy and inviting, but old worn-out floors can look kinda Let Renew Solutions give your floors a stunning makeover. For a no-obligation appointment, visit renewjacksfloors.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Florida and Missouri coming up Saturday night. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Florida's got 2 more chances to get 1 more win to become bowl eligible. They sit now at 5-5 on the year, and there are a lot more questions than we have answers with only 2 games remaining. With that, Jacob Rudner, 247sports.com, does a terrific job covering the Florida Gators over in Gainesville, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Jacob, how you doing?
I'm good, Ryan. It's always a pleasure to join you.
Hey, Jacob, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for the time. All right, let's dive right in. That was pathetic on Saturday night from a defensive standpoint. 700 yards of offense for LSU. Jacob, your take on what we saw Saturday evening?
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying that was a tough one. I mean, that's probably putting it lightly, too. I think that we have reached a point in the season where Florida is what it is. And you know, it's a team that has now allowed 39 points in each of its last 4 games. It's the first time that's happened, I believe, now in program history. Prior to the LSU showing, it was already the first time since the early 1900s that Florida had allowed as many points as it had in a 3-game stretch. It just allowed the most yards it has allowed in a single game in its 111-year program history. And these are things that are just realities at this point. This is not a slow stretch. This is not a cold moment for a team that is better than maybe its performances are indicating. We are headed into the 11th game of the season. These are your Gators at this point in the season. I don't think anybody can reasonably deny that at this point. That being said, I don't know that it was terribly surprising. Did I expect LSU to pick up 700 yards in the game and really truly obliterate Florida's defense? No. But did I expect LSU to score at least 45 points in that game and look like the far superior team? I did. And I think that, again, it just speaks to what this Florida team is and what can be reasonably expected at this point in the season.
Jacob Rudner, 247sports.com. All right, let's take this in pieces. I said at the beginning of the year, I think I might have been talking with you when I said this. To me, this Gator season is about 3 things. And let's begin with the first of those 3. It's about playing young guys. To that, I would give a check mark, right? They are one of the youngest, if not the youngest team in the Power 5. A lot of their freshmen are getting valuable experience. Now, they're getting exposed like they did Saturday night in Baton Rouge, and the freshmen are getting a welcome to the SEC moment, if you will. But from the standpoint of playing young guys to get them experience for the future, Florida certainly has done a lot of that.
Yeah, there's no question. Florida has played more freshmen in every game so far this season than any other Power 5 team in the country. Freshmen are accounting for a higher percentage of reps on the defensive side of the ball than any other Power 5 team in the country. And as you said months ago, as you and I discussed, that was, of course, one of the big focal points of the season coming into it. Florida needed to get its young guys on the field as a part of its rebuild, get these guys experience so that in 2024 they are not first-time on the field players, but rather guys with some semblance of experience. Now, I think one thing that is concerning to me is the level of the performance on a week-to-week basis of some of these guys. Yes, they're young, and that matters, but I do think that there are concerns about whether or not those guys will be able to take the necessary step in 2024 to get the program to where it needs to be. And so, not to get too far ahead of myself here, as I'm sure we'll probably discuss this, but I do think that the performance of some of the freshmen so far this year has emphasized the need to be really successful in the portal this offseason. Florida cannot be inexperienced or young next year. It must supplement its roster, especially areas of concern, with guys who have Power 5 experience and who are proven to be successful. And I do think that without some of that help this offseason, it could be, trajectory altering. And when we kind of zoom out and look at where this is all headed, to me, that is a big factor. And I think it directly relates to the freshmen who are on the field right now and what we've seen from them so far.
And Jacob, that's one of the big ones too. Again, Jacob Rudner, 247sports.com. One of the other ones of the three things that I was talking about, and look, I'm not breaking any news here. These were three things that a lot of people were talking about. Play some young guys. Okay, they've done that. Check mark. Show improvement as the season goes on. Now here's where the problem lies. From when they won that game in South Carolina there in Columbia a few weeks ago, Jacob, to where we are now, they have not shown improvement. In fact, they've gotten a lot worse in areas. That's a problem, right? When you're playing young guys, you think they'll get gradually better as the season goes on. They won't get gradually worse, which appears to be what's happening.
Yeah, I think that they're like last year when we watched Florida beat watched Florida beat Utah in its season opener. There are some things from those types of performances that people may hang on to and cause them to recalibrate expectations. Now, Ryan, I'm sure you remember when you and I spoke in the direct lead up to the season, what was the win-loss total I said? I said 6-6, maybe 5-7 for this Florida team based on its talent, based on where it was in terms of who it had brought into the building, based on its success or lack thereof in the transfer portal this past offseason. So I think that perhaps a 41-point showing on the road at South Carolina could have been one of those games that instills a little bit too much confidence in onlookers? I think so, possibly at a minimum. And when that happens, I think that people then might go, well, now we're 5-2 and we look good on the road. We beat South Carolina. Maybe this will be a 7 or 8 win season. I think that if that was the recalibration for some people, if that's where your mind went, you probably were tricked into believing something that was unrealistic. This has always been a 5-7 or 6-6 team. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily acceptable. I'm not saying that the progress or lack of progress that has been demonstrated through 10 games this season is acceptable. But I do believe, and the proof is in the win-loss record, that they are where we thought that they were supposed to be. I mean, you can go back and listen, like I said, to the conversation you and I had months ago when we said exactly this. This is who this group is, and we continue to kind of learn that, in my opinion, on a week-to-week basis. This is we're seeing what we expected.
Yeah, at the time, I said I would sign on the dotted line for 7-5 and throw a parade, and they can still get there, but it looks very doubtful sitting at 5-5 on the year. So play young guys, they've done that. Show gradual improvement. I think they're suffering there. And maybe the biggest one of all, what I thought 2023 was about, Jacob, is keep that top 5 recruiting class intact. And it's not intact anymore. They had 2 defections over the weekend. Reportedly, there are more coming. I think it could be very interesting depending on who Texas A&M hires, because whoever Texas A&M hires, that first call is going to be to DJ Lagway. And I don't even really want to go there, but that's the reality of the situation. I can't even imagine a scenario that would happen. So let's try not to even mention that again. I just want to throw that out there. The recruiting class is falling apart, it appears. That's a problem, Jacob, right? I mean, that there's no sugarcoating that. That's an issue.
Yeah, I think it's a problem if it happens. And the reason I say that is because, yes, were there 2 reasonably significant decommitments? No denying it. Absolutely. Wardell Mack, Jamonte Waller are good players. They are likely to go on and be successful, barring something unforeseen in their collegiate careers. Florida likes those guys and had them in its class for a reason, no doubt. And losing them is not a good thing. Nobody would argue that. I will say this, though. I think that there is something to be said about concern versus reality. Is there concern that Florida could start to lose more of its recruits in what is still the 4th ranked class in the country? Absolutely. When you're 5-5 and things aren't looking so pretty on the field, there is, of course, a risk that your top talent is not going to want to hop into a boat that may look like it's sinking or that may be starting to kind of stall out in place. But until we really see those decommitments occur, I think that in recruiting especially, talk is cheap. I think we can hear a lot of rumors, and can always be, momentum in this direction, or this is where something is trending. For me personally, I think it's best to just wait and see what happens when we get to signing day. Who's going to sign on the dotted line? That will be an opportunity for us to really assess. And that brings me to my second point, which is this. If there are decommitments, if top talent does jump out of the class, and it doesn't really matter who it is, it could be Lagway, who you mentioned, it could be Xavier Filsaime, the 5-star safety in Florida's class, it doesn't matter. If the class suffers as a byproduct of decommitments at the end of the season, that to me, like you said, would be the most significant negative of the 2023 calendar year for Florida football. This group cannot afford whatsoever to have its recruiting class, which is still very good, even with 2 decommitments, to fall apart. It's not even on the table of things that could become acceptable. And so Florida will need to do a good job at getting in the ears of these kids and their families and convincing them that essentially we are headed in a direction that maybe our record doesn't suggest right now. And providing that they can do that, which remains to be seen, of course, they could be just fine moving forward, or at a minimum, buy some more patience from a fan base that is rightfully getting a little bit restless based on what we've seen so far. And so I would say this. Yes, 100% do they need to keep this class together or close to it and bring in a group that ranks among, let's say, the top 6 teams in the country, because the reality is if you finish 6th, that might not necessarily be a reflection of what you lost, but maybe what some other teams gained, and that's kind of out of your control. But outside of the top 6 is really when you start to get sketchy, and questions can reasonably be asked about the direction of the program, the direction of the recruiting. That would be a momentum changer, in my opinion, and it would reflect when we start to discuss the trajectory of this coaching staff and how warm the seat gets going into 2024.
Final moments, Jacob Rudner, 247sports.com. Jacob, I'm being asked this. I'm telling people till I'm blue in the face. I'll ask you. If they lose by double digits to Missouri and Florida State, and even if the 2 losses are ugly, I mean, Billy Napier's back in 2024, correct?
Yeah, I'm hard-pressed to believe that Billy Napier is going anywhere after this season. I do think that Florida is committed to giving him some time to get things figured out. I think there is a sentiment in Gainesville that the trigger has been quick on its last several coaches, and that has not helped with the progress of the program. I do think that there is a degree to which Billy Napier is being hurt by the start and stop, coaching handling that has gone on in Gainesville before. It has undeniably damaged the program, making it harder and harder for each of the next coaching staffs or head coach to be as successful as they want to be. I really can't deny that at this point. As well, I don't think that Florida is in a position to jump the gun quite yet on getting rid of Billy Napier, because I think that there's still room to improve drastically and quickly. I think that Florida is now in a position where it must hire a special teams coordinator this offseason. I would say we are nearing a must on bringing in an offensive coordinator this offseason. And Ryan, those are huge changes. If Florida brings in coordinators and readjusts its coaching structure, its ideology, how it operates, those are things that can spur dramatic improvement. They are going to bring in what we believe at the moment to be a very talented freshman class. They have a group of guys who are current freshmen who are going to or should return as sophomores. They have some sophomores who are key contributors who are expected to return for a 3rd season and continue to thrive in the roles that they're already in. You add the transfer portal to that, you talk about some structure changes. Can I see a world in which Florida is markedly different next year than it is right now? Absolutely. And I do think that there's value in waiting to see exactly what that looks like. But I will add this. A failed recruiting class, in the event that it does fall apart, in the event that these kids do get dissuaded by the results that we see over these final 2 weeks of the regular season, and they don't pull in what is widely evaluated to be one of the best classes in the country, that again could change the narrative. And so I will personally be looking over these last 2 weeks of the year and into December, how they close out there, how the transfer portal unfolds for them, and then again, those changes and whether or not Billy Napier is willing to adapt and adjust and maybe remodel his coaching staff into a way that can allow him to be more successful in 2024.
Jacob, we got 60 seconds. Leave us with this. The transfer portal giveth, it also taketh away. Any concern for you, whether it's Trevor Etienne, heaven forbid, Eugene Wilson, any of the playmakers might say, you know what, I'm out of here and go look for greener pastures elsewhere?
Yeah, this might sound like a cop-out answer, but I think that's always a possibility no matter what. We live in an era right now where money talks, where athletes are going to be looking for not only the best playing situation, but obviously the best financial situation. And so there's no ruling out who stays versus who goes. Do I think that it's more likely than not that guys like Trevor Etienne or Shamar James remain in the fold? I do. I personally, at this moment, do not have much concern that those guys are eyeballing a departure. But will I, come out here and say that they're 100% going to be at Florida next year and stay in the fold? No, and I think that would be foolish for anybody to assert at this point, just given the state of college football and where things are at. So, if you're listening to this, should you be concerned about those guys leaving? I don't think so, at least not yet. But is it something to have in the back of your mind? Yes, and my answer would be yes if Florida was, trending towards a 9-3 season, the same as it might be trending towards a 5-7 season.
Jacob Rudner does a terrific job covering the Gators, 247sports.com. It's college basketball season 2. Jacob does a great job with Gator Hoops. Look, 30 seconds. I know they lost to Virginia, and I don't know half the names yet, but watching them on Friday night, Jacob, they're big, man. I mean, I know they haven't played much basketball together. They got a gel, but Todd Golden may have something this year.
I like the makeup of this group for sure. I think that Florida did a great job in the transfer portal this offseason. I do believe that the leadership that they have in place with guys like Todd Golden and associate head coach Carlin Hartman and assistant Kevin Hovde, they are really bright basketball minds. I can see this team definitely pushing its way into the NCAA tournament. For fans who might be dissuaded, I will tell you this. After a loss to Virginia that was close, Florida was without who I believe to be its number one ball handling guard, and that's going to be Zion Pullen out of UC Riverside. He is suspended for the first 3 games of the season relating to his participation in an off-season showcase event for guys who are supposed to be out of eligibility, which he opted to not be out of eligibility due to a COVID year. So the NCAA striketh again, if you will. But I do believe that once Florida gets him back, we can see a team that really has some sky-high potential. I really do believe that. And so if you're looking for positives, I wouldn't rule out Florida basketball quite yet.
Yeah, the Virginia loss stung, but I was pleasantly surprised with what I saw, and we'll see what happens with the Gators moving forward. Jacob Rudner, 247sports.com. He's one of our guys in Gainesville. Jacob, I know you're busy, man. Appreciate the time. We'll do it again soon.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure.
Sometimes the most important position in sports needs a translator.
I'm Denny Thompson, and they call me the quarterback whisperer.
He shares his insights Friday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet.
The best time of the year for blue crabs right now at the Blue Crab Crab House. They've been open since 1996, and they are a staple here in Duval. Sundays, you have the Bloody Mary specials. Mimosas as well, $2.50 noon until 5 o'clock. Of course, each and every Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oysters. Right off of San Jose on Julington Creek Road, it is the Blue Crab Crab House.
I'm Tom Coughlin, founder of the J-Fund Foundation, helping local families tackle childhood cancer since 1996.
And I'm Dan Hicken, asking you to be there for these kids November 29th on 1010XL.
Thank you for supporting the J-Fund.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools. One bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
Winter in Jacksonville is mild, but you still want your furnace or heat pump at its best.
Imagine a cold home when your heater isn't up to the task. Don't be left in the cold.
Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning, your go-to mechanical contractor for top-notch HVAC services across Northeast Florida.
Let us keep you warm and cozy. Contact Duck Duck Air Conditioning at 904-862-6769.
Duck Duck Air Conditioning, your comfort is our priority. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckac.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey guys, Daniel here from Fourscore. Are you looking for the perfect place to host your corporate holiday party this season? Look no further than Fourscore Golf Tavern. Our spacious venue offers eats, drinks, and multi-simulator gaming. With only a few spots left, now's the perfect time to secure your booking. Imagine your colleagues swinging into the holiday spirit with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Sipping on festive cocktails, indulging in delicious cuisine. Book online or stop in and let us show you around. Located in the heart of San Marcos Square, Fourscore Golf Tavern.
The biggest, baddest rock experience in the United States is here. Welcome to Rockville with Foo Fighters. It's times like these, Motley Crue. Slipknot. Disturbed. Jelly Roll. Limp Bizkit. Queens of the Stone Age. And Breaking Benjamin, Evanescence, Cypress Hill, Blackville Brides, A Day to Remember, Anthrax, In This Moment, Primus, Stone Temple Pilots, Tech Nine, and Judas Priest, plus so many more. Welcome to Rockville. 4 days, 5 stages, and 150 bands. May 9th through the 12th at Daytona International Speedway. Passes and camping on sale now at welcometorockville.com.
AJ Fernandez is one of the most sought-after cigar brands in the country. This Saturday at Tobacco Cove, you can sample the passion, discipline, and great tobacco of his cigars. His cigars have been named Cigar of the Year and consistently achieve ratings of 90 and above. A variety of his blends will be available to try and enjoy this Saturday from 1 to 4 at Tobacco Cove for an event you don't want to miss. Tobacco Cove, Bay Meadows, and San Jose. It's more than a smoke shop, it's an experience.
Hacker here, and look, football season is in full swing, and no game day setup is complete without the Sausage Dude sausage. I'm a sausage guy, and the Sausage Dude sausage is the best sausage I've ever had. Try their 4 terrific flavors, including Polish, Hungarian, beer bratwurst with jalapeno, and my personal favorite, the Italian today, by picking them up at any Publix in the Jacksonville area. Football and sausage, it's a winning combination. Go get the Sausage Dude sausage at any Publix in the Jacksonville area right now.
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Week 11 of the NFL begins tonight. Baltimore, Cincinnati, a big one in the AFC, a defensive battle right now. Ravens 7-3, 13 minutes to go in the first half. Ravens tight end Mark Andrews left the game with an ankle injury. He has not returned. Lamar Jackson looked like he got banged up on the sideline with another ankle, although he has come back in the game. But again, Baltimore 7-3 on top of Cincinnati, 13 minutes to go in the second quarter. Coming up at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour, my friend Ben Arthur, FoxSports.com and the Fox Sports app. He covers the AFC South for Fox Sports. So we'll talk Jaguars, Titans. I also want to spend some time on the Texans and the Colts. But coming up next, let's get back into the Jaguars and Tennessee. My friend Brad Steele, he is the host of the Two-Tone Talk Titans podcast. He does a terrific job covering the Tennessee Titans. And I just kind of want to get a perspective from a Titans podcast host, a Titans super fan, if you will. Will Levis, Mike Vrabel, Derrick Henry. What's the vibe with Titan fans as they are coming to Jacksonville on Sunday to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars? Talking Jaguars and Titans next, Thursday night, Hacker After Dark, right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Follow the Florida Gators on 1010XL.
And scoots for the end zone. Touchdown, Gators.
The Gators go to Mizzou. Florida, Missouri kickoff at 7:30 on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Listen up. This weekend, you'll immediately, why can I say immediately? Come see why. I can't say that line. And a lifetime, Beaver's till, I've not lost it. We know we aren't perfect, but we try every day to do our very best to provide the wow experience you deserve, and we're so grateful for all our amazing customers. Visit us at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville to see just how much we appreciate you.
Budweiser reminds us to drink wiser, like hydrating between beers. It keeps the fun going longer, and it's a commitment to responsibility. Remember, good times are ahead, so no need to overdo it. Know when to say when, and always designate a driver.
Be here and be loud as the Jaguars take on the Tennessee Titans Sunday, November 19th. Be at the bank for this divisional rivalry when Trevor Lawrence leads the team in an exciting matchup. Plus, join us as we celebrate Salute to Service and honor our military all game day long. Seats may be sold out, but a limited number of standing room only tickets are still available, so don't miss your chance to be there. Visit jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000 now.
Do you love sports? Do you also love wings? Enjoy the best wings in Jacksonville in Miramar, Mandarin, and Oakleaf at Players Grill. Watch your favorite teams and enjoy burgers, pizza, salads, and of course, wings. Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 16, 1957, University of Oklahoma's football NCAA win streak ends at 47 after losing 7-0 to Notre Dame at home.
Pastor Joby Martin here with the Church of 1122. We are honored once again to partner with the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for the Great Futures Weekend, which includes golf and Mackenzie's 5K run at the esteemed TPC Stadium course. Help us continue to honor Mackenzie Wilson's legacy. That's Friday and Saturday, November 17th and 18th. You can golf or you can run. It'll be a great time. Additional info at MackenzieRun.org. Proceeds go to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida.
What king in the deck of cards does not have a mustache? The answer next.
Filing any homeowner's claim is really easy with Southern Oak Insurance. Simply file your claim directly with us. We'll handle the vendors. It will save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Silly as it sounds, the King of Hearts is the only king without facial hair. Supposedly a design error.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hey, Matt Hayes here. Expert Automotive is now open at our brand new state-of-the-art facility on St. John's Bluff Road. As always, every repair comes with a lifetime service repair warranty. Come celebrate our grand reopening by getting a free AC inspection, $50 off any repair, $199 brake specials, and free diagnostics all month long. Call 374-3373 or visit us at our new location at 2190 St. John's Bluff Road. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need.
The IRS has just received $80 billion in funding to hire additional agents for aggressive collections enforcement. If you owe the IRS, now is the time to take action before the IRS comes after you or your business. There's no time to waste. Call J. David Tax Law, a firm right here in Jacksonville, for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777. Or visit jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away.
Frank Franzi here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason so many of my friends and our listeners have had Stanley Pools build their pools and now maintain their pools, because Stanley Pools truly cares about their customers. Stanley Pools is locally owned and has been serving our community for 35 years. For all of your pool needs, call Stanley Pools at 269-7277. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools. 269-7277, or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly.
I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Titans, Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear it right here on your home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, 1010XL, as the Jaguars look to get back on track after, well, whatever that was against San Francisco. And Tennessee is just looking to win a game at this point as they come in at 3-6 on the year. With that, let's go to my buddy Brad Steele. He is the host of the Two Tone Talk podcast. He is a Titans super fan, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Brad, how you doing?
Well, personally, I'm good. In terms of my Titans fandom, I have seen better days, but it's good to be back on with you, though.
Hey, Brad, we always appreciate it, man. I tell you this, so you do a good job with that podcast. Even though it's Titans-centric, I certainly watch it, and you do a good job covering your hometown team up there. All right, let's begin at the very top. This offseason, we were curious, is it a rebuild? Is it a retooling? Well, now 9 games in, Brad, they sit 3-6. Tannehill has been replaced by Will Levis. Kevin Byard has been traded. I mean, how would you describe the first 9 Tennessee Titan football games to this point?
Miserable. Miserable would be a good word. It was a weird offseason. Because, the Titans, they would do things that would make you say, okay, clearly they're kind of doing some form of rebuild. But then they would turn around and sign a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, and it would make you go, well, maybe they are trying to, have something this year. I think initially they were viewing themselves as a competitive team. Probably due to Derrick Henry being back for likely the last time. Clearly, you've got guys like Jeffrey Simmons and at the time Kevin Byard, guys who you felt like could make you competitive maybe, but clearly that has not been the case so far. They've had a few wins where they kind of looked like they might be turning a corner, and then they laid an egg the very next week. But, yeah, definitely looks like a build for the future type rest of the year to me so far. I mean, 3-6, and you've got a rookie quarterback in there, but there are just certain areas of this team where there's a lot of work needs to be done. Offensive line, secondary, it's been a tough go so far.
Watching Will Levis, Brad, again, he got the reins a couple of weeks ago, had a great performance against Atlanta in a win. I thought he played all right on Thursday night at Pittsburgh. Ultimately, they lose the game there in the final seconds. And then he just didn't have time to do anything against Tampa, right? I mean, the offensive line up there is just awful. So can you assess what you've seen out of Will Levis 3 games in?
Overall, I've found it to be very promising. I mean, he looks very poised, for a rookie quarterback to come in. And, I know the Atlanta game was his best outing so far, but there were certain elements of that Pittsburgh game that were some of the most impressive things about him to me. Going in, that was a short week on the road against a good Pittsburgh defense, in that hostile Pittsburgh atmosphere. Thought he showed a lot of maturity and poise. Obviously, he missed some throws and, has a lot of plays that I'm sure he wishes he could have back. But, I've found it to be a very promising thing. I think that he hasn't – against Tampa, as you said, he wasn't really put in a position to succeed. I think the blocking was atrocious. And, you put Joe Montana in there. If they've got 0.2 seconds, it's going to kind of hinder everything. And so he got pretty beat up against Tampa, and I don't know if the Titans will try to shift things around on the offensive line this week, but they probably should try. So, yeah. But I've liked Will so far. I've liked, liked what I've seen overall. But, it's going to be a learning process, as it is with rookie quarterbacks, I suppose.
Brad Steele is the host of the Two-Tone Talk podcast covering the Tennessee Titans. He's with us here on 1010XL. Again, Jaguars and Titans Sunday, 1 o'clock down here at Everbank Stadium. Mike Vrabel obviously is a very accomplished coach, a very well-respected coach, but I'm seeing some talk up there, Brad, not only, a little bit of hot seat talk, but by and large it's more of, all right, if Belichick's days are numbered in New England, Robert Kraft seems to be a big Mike Vrabel fan. I know Vrabel went up there for a Patriots Hall of Fame luncheon or something a couple of weeks ago. I mean, how viable is the conversation that Mike Vrabel may be, the next head coach of the New England Patriots in the next couple of months?
Well, I mean, with social media, you never know what's true, what's not, what's being overblown. I have no doubt that they like Vrabel over there. And obviously there are some Titans, Titans fans who are calling for his head because the Titans aren't very good right now. And that's kind of what happens when you're not very good. People start calling for the coach's head. But as far as the New England stuff, I would be surprised if that comes to fruition. It just sounds a little far-fetched to me, but I will say this. I mean, there's rumors, and of course it's rumors, and you know how that goes, but if the Patriots are willing to trade a first-round pick for Mike Vrabel, this would be a good year to do that because they're probably going to have a top 5 pick, because they're pretty bad themselves. And but I personally don't think it's going to happen. I think that the ownership for the Tennessee Titans, I think they are big fans of Vrabel as well. And I don't think they view what's going on in Nashville right now as being his fault. I think a lot of the fans, his seat is hotter among the fans than I think it is among the actual ownership of the Titans. So I would be very surprised if something goes down with him and the Patriots and all of that.
You mentioned Derrick Henry earlier. I'm a big fan of Derrick. I used to have him in studio when he was at high school here at Yulee High School before he made it to the Heisman and, the NFL and became, Derrick Henry, what we know of him today. But he is a free agent at the end of the year. How realistic is it when the Jaguar fans go to the stadium on Sunday to watch the Titans and the Jags that that's the last time they'll see Derrick Henry in a Titan uniform?
I think it's pretty likely. I mean, I think that obviously, like you said, he is a free agent at the end of the year, and I don't think he's going to be able to get the kind of money he wants anywhere else, just because you know how it is with running backs in the NFL. And so he's going to be 31, by the time next season rolls around. And, I I don't think he's going to be able to get the money he wants, but I just don't see him coming back to Tennessee on a team-friendly deal. No, you never say never, but I don't think he will be back. So I think, yeah, it's a good chance it will be the last time you see him. He's kind of taken on a decreased role this year for a lot of different reasons. I think, for one, they've tried to put it all on him before, and as much of a beast as he is, putting it all on a running back in 2023 is a tough way to win, even if the running back is very good. And I also think that the handwriting's on the wall, that he's probably, his days are numbered with the Titans. And there were a lot of rumors that he would be traded before the deadline. That obviously didn't happen. I know the Ravens were a team that were mentioned as potentially trading for him, and it didn't go down. And, I think that the best they would have been able to get would have probably been a fourth rounder, and you could probably argue that's not worth it. But, now he's going to be a free agent, and you're probably going to get nothing for him. So, but yeah, I would speculate he's probably on his farewell tour with the Titans right now.
Final moments with Brad Steele. He is the host of the Two Tone Talk podcast covering the Tennessee Titans. Brad, I got to ask you about our buddy Arden Key. Arden Key came down here, and according to him, helped build the city of Jacksonville. We have our infrastructure, our bridges, everything in Duval County is thanks to Arden Key and the 5 months of contribution that he paid here to the city of Jacksonville. How is Arden Key and his $7 million a year he's making up there?
He had a good game the first week against the Saints, and everybody was feeling good about it. He's been pretty quiet since then, which he's not alone, by the way. The Titans have put a lot of money into their front four and have not gotten their money's worth so far this season, and that's Arden Key, that's Harold Landry, who, granted, is coming off of a torn ACL, but he is one of those guys who, he was arguably, other than Hopkins, he was the only pretty good acquisition they made this offseason, because they didn't have a whole ton of money to work with. So, he was one of the only big-time contributions they could have signed, and I would not say he's lighting the world on fire by any means. So, yeah.
Brad, we speak from experience here in Jacksonville. When you get to Thanksgiving and the team's not going anywhere, a lot of our fans in the past have hoped for losses to help draft stock, right? So we speak from experience. We know the pain going on up there. But I see the battle, the back and forth in Nashville and around that Titans fan base about wanting to lose, right, to help your draft stock going forward, or some Titan fans that believe they're not out of it yet at 3-6. Where do you stand on that with the last 8 games for Tennessee?
Well, like you said, it is a horrible position to be in as a fan, because you want to look forward to Sundays. You want to be excited about tuning in to watch your team play. And it's just hard to get excited when you're rooting for them to lose and you're already looking to April and the draft. That's a horrible position, and it's one that Titans fans know pretty well as well, because we had some dark years there too. And for me personally, I guess as fans, you're always going to tune in and hope that a miracle happens. You're going to look at the standings and say, okay, if we miraculously figure it out, we're not totally out of it. But I think realistically, you have to know what you're dealing with here. And that's tough, because, again, it's not fun. It's not something to get excited about, to tune in and know it's in your best interest to lose, but it's the risk we take as fans. We get excited for football season all year, and then it gets here, and sometimes it turns out like this, where a couple months in, you're already looking to the off season, and it's the risk we take as fans, I guess. But I think, contrary to what anybody says, you can say you want them to lose, but when they take the field on Sunday, nobody is going to sit there and celebrate when the Jaguars score a touchdown. Nobody is going to sit there and cheer for the Titans to lose. You know, they'll say they did, but they're liars. You know, it's just our human nature. You root for your team to win. And when they do, you have hope again, because that's what we do as fans. We are gluttons for punishment.
Hey, Brad, we got about 90 seconds to go, man. Leave us with this. Again, Brad Steele, host of the Two Tone Talk podcast covering the Tennessee Titans. The Jaguars looked very good up until a couple of days ago, and then San Francisco came down here and just absolutely demolished Jacksonville, and we're looking for answers. How is this game viewed among Titan fans on Sunday between the Titans and the Jags?
Well, it's in a weird way, and I know I got to be quick here. It's kind of a must-win, in my opinion, for Jacksonville because of what happened against San Francisco. You want to get the taste of that out of your mouth, I know. And if you lose to Tennessee, that's awful. I mean, that is you're in a tough spot because Houston's probably better than we all thought they were going to be. And so for Tennessee, 3-6, you feel like it's probably already over. If you get to 3-7, it is over, and you can literally start doing mock drafts at that point. So I think some Titans fans will view it as a must-win. Some view it as a must-lose. I think Jacksonville has a heck of a lot more to lose, you know, because they're the team that's kind of in the mix, and they're coming off a tough loss, and this would be an awful loss for the Jaguars. I'm sure you know that all too well. This would be an unacceptable loss. And so I think the Jags, you know, have more to lose, and so maybe the Titans will come out, you know, putting it all on the line because they know they have nothing to lose. So, but that's kind of how I'm viewing it. It's all the pressure would probably be on you guys at this point because you're the ones with the most to lose. So,
well, that's a fair point. I can't disagree with that. Brad Steele, the host of the Two Tone Talk podcast, every Monday, every Friday. You can check it out on YouTube. You can follow him on Twitter at Two Tone Talk as well. Brad, appreciate the time, man. Enjoy the podcast you do up there around the Titans fans in Nashville. Thanks, buddy. We'll do it again soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
They're landing in Jacksonville. Ancient Aliens, live. This Sunday at Florida Theater. The Out of This World Tour.
All of you are in this journey, with all of us together.
Ancient Aliens, Project Earth, live this Sunday at Florida Theater. Last chance to get your tickets at floridatheater.com. Explore the theory of the extraterrestrial.
Ancient Aliens. It's out of this world.
Hey, babes, the toilet is running.
Really? Oh, where's it going?
Well, Mr. Funny Man, it's going to our water bill, increasing our monthly costs, which are already sky high. Not to mention the absolute waste of water.
Yeah, okay then. I'll call Duck Rooter.
Toilet running? Clogged drain or leaky faucet? We have your solution. Duck Rooter, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
904-862-6769.
The year is almost over. Do you need cash for the holidays or want to be credit card debt-free for the new year? Call Loan Pronto today. Their Express Equity line of credit can get you $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. Listen, if you have a ton of equity in your house, and Loan Pronto can help you turn that equity into cash, you can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards, pay off personal loans, or start that home improvement project. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact. So your 3% rate, it's protected. And with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line program, 90% of the time, there's no need for an appraisal. So you can get your money super fast. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards before the new year. Get yourself on solid financial footing before the year ends and call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
I'm Taylor Dahl on your Gator Station. 1010XL is your pipeline to Gator Nation. Listen for the Gator Report all year round.
Brought to you by Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts. On the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gator! Hicken here with Zero Res. Let them help you get ready for the holiday. Book today and Zero Res will clean your carpets for only $49 a room. Let's give you 25% off your tile and grout cleaning. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Hey, it's Angela and Brian Wall. How many companies do you know in this day and age that actually want their potential customers to call their competition and get quotes from them?
That's what WonderWorld wants you to do. WonderWorld knows there are other window companies out there, but we also know those other guys. When compared to WonderWorld, they can't offer you the quality at the price that WonderWorld can.
And with WonderWorld, you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement business.
If anything goes wrong with your new WonderWorld windows, 5 years from now, 10, 15, 50, WonderWorld and I will be there to fix it for you. You get peace of mind with WonderWorld, and to top it off, WonderWorld windows increase the value of your home. So look what you get with WonderWorld. Quality windows, low price, the best guarantee in the business, energy savings, and an increase in the value of your home. A win-win for you.
Call Window World today and get your free in-home estimate or see them online at windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World. Simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
AJ Fernandez is one of the most sought-after cigar brands in the country. This Saturday at Tobacco Cove, you can sample the passion, discipline, and great tobacco of his cigars. His cigars have been named Cigar of the Year and consistently achieve ratings of 90 and above. A variety of his blends will be available to try and enjoy this Saturday from 1 to 4 at Tobacco Cove for an event you don't want to miss. Tobacco Cove, Bay Meadows, and San Jose, it's more than a smoke shop, it's an experience.
Hacker here, and look, football season is in full swing, and no game day setup is complete without the Sausage Dude sausage. I'm a sausage guy, and the Sausage Dude sausage is the best sausage I've ever had. Try their 4 terrific flavors, including Polish, Hungarian, beer bratwurst with jalapeno, and my personal favorite, the Italian, today by picking them up at any Publix in the Jacksonville area. Football and sausage, it's a winning combination. Go get the Sausage Dude sausage at any Publix in the Jacksonville area right now.
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Titans, Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. The Jaguars look to get back on track after, well, whatever that was last week against San Francisco, while Tennessee just desperately needs a win as they are plummeting down the AFC South standings. With all that, Ben Arthur, he covers the AFC South for FoxSports.com and the Fox Sports app, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Ben, how you doing?
Doing well, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, Ben, we're good. All right, you and I talked about a month ago, and at the time, I think the Jaguars were like 3-2 or 4-2, and things were going really well, right? They get to 6-2, but narratives can change pretty quick in this league. And, Ben, they got embarrassed last Sunday at home against San Francisco. Now, look, Cincinnati's been blown out this year. Miami has been blown out. Dallas has been blown out. It happens. But, boy, a lot of questions for the Jaguars coming out of that game last week.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, I think you have to start just with the offense, which I think we can say heading into that game, into the 49ers game, had improved. But we've been waiting all year for this offense to really play to its potential, to play to its personnel, right? You have a Trevor Lawrence. You have all these weapons around him. You have a pretty strong offensive line, and they haven't been able to really play to expectations to the standard. This was an offense that was supposed to be leading the team, and it's really been the defense and their ability to get takeaways that's been able to fuel what in many cases been like gritty wins for them, right? And then against the Niners, you had a case where the defense had its kind of that bad game, that they didn't get the turnovers that we've seen, and then the offense kind of regressed to a new low. What was probably the worst kind of offensive showing we've seen in the Doug Peterson era. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on, man. I think Trevor needs to play better as kind of this supposed like franchise quarterback. I think we haven't seen a truly great performance from him this season. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but I don't think I've really seen Trevor have a truly great performance. I mean, there have been stretches, and I thought the Saints game where he played through the knee thing, that was a good thing he did. But I haven't really seen him take that next step that we expected, being in year 2 under Doug Peterson. Calvin Ridley just kind of disappears in this offense for whatever reason, not giving him the ball. I think he only had like 3 targets or whatever. And then Christian Kirk having a mistake he doesn't usually have. I mean, I think overall in the game he was solid. But yeah, I think just overall, and then I have to kind of mention Press Taylor and the play calling. I mean, I think they just have to find a way to execute better, to play better. Because I don't think the defense is always going to have performances like they did against San Francisco, which at full strength, like they were on Sunday, the 49ers can blow out anyone, right? They blew out the Cowboys, who are a really good team as well. So I think that the defense will be fine. But for me, it's like, okay, when is the offense actually going to like truly figure it out? Because we're now 9 games into the season, and like how much longer is it going to take, right? And so I think that's the biggest question for me.
Ben Arthur, FoxSports.com and the Fox Sports app, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Ben, I agree. Trevor Lawrence has thrown 9 touchdowns in 9 games. I think at this point the offense kind of is who they are. And having said that, like I said, narratives change. If you and I would have talked a week ago, people were talking about the Jaguars being a top 5 team. I don't think all of a sudden now they're awful because they got boat raced at home. At the end of the day, they're 6-3. The ironic part is, before Sunday's kickoff, they were 3rd in the AFC standings. After the game Sunday, they're 3rd in the AFC standings. They didn't lose any ground, but clearly a lot of questions, and one of the main questions is, can they hold off the all of a sudden surging Houston Texans there with quarterback C.J. Stroud?
Yeah, I think, Ryan, that's what makes it concerning if you're the Jags, right? Like, yeah, you're still in great position, 6-3. It's just 1 loss, a bad loss, but again, just 1 loss. But because of the way C.J. Stroud is leading this Texans team, a Texans team to where it almost feels like anything is kind of possible for them right now, just with 2 straight victories, with game-winning drives led by Stroud. They've won 3 of their last 4 games. All 5 of their wins have come in the last 7 games. And CJ has been the best quarterback by far in the division this season. And just with the way they've been rolling, and we kind of saw this last year. I mean, it's totally different situations with Jacksonville and Tennessee last year because the Jags had been so bad to start the year and they went on the run, and then the Titans just fell apart. But then this year it's like the Texans looked kind of average, and now they're starting to go on a run, and it's like, okay, are the Jags going to maybe be able to hold them off? And so I think just because of the way C.J. Stroud is playing, the way he's leading this Texans team, that's what kind of makes it concerning, right? Because they're only 1 game back now, right, with the Jags losing to the Niners and then the Texans beating the Bengals in Cincinnati. It's only a 1-game lead for Jacksonville, and then we know what happened in Jacksonville, right, where the Texans came and won by 20. So we know, so the Jags have personally experienced like what they're capable of, and so I think that's kind of what makes it concerning. I think with the Jags, the big thing is just like kind of not panicking, right? Like you're still in control of your destiny. If they have Tennessee this week, and then the Texans the following week. Like, if they take care of those 2 games, I mean, they're pretty much in control, right? So I think it's really just about getting back to basics, like figuring out, okay, like how can we get some more out of the offense? And I don't think there's any reason for panic, but just because of the way CJ Stroud is playing, it makes it sort of a stressful situation, so to speak.
2 gigantic games for the Jaguars, Tennessee and Houston. Again, Ben Arthur, FoxSports.com. Let's focus on the team coming in this week. Ben, I almost think it's a good thing it's Tennessee because Jacksonville gets embarrassed. They have off-the-field issues with Zay Jones earlier in the week. We'll see how those play themselves out in the legal proceedings. So there's a lot going on. But it's the hated Titans, right? It's for guys like Cam Robinson and Josh Allen, Dewey Wingard, guys that have been here a while. I mean, they hate Tennessee. Tennessee's not real fond of Jacksonville. So I think if there's a great opponent for this week for the Jaguars to get refocused, it probably is seeing that Titans logo come to town.
Definitely. I mean, to get back on track against a division opponent that before last year had really just been, kicking their right? So, and guys like Josh Allen, like you said, they have a bad taste in their mouth, even though they were able to win the division last year and sweep the season series. I mean, those memories I don't think as players like those memories leave you. And I think just coming off of whatever that game was against the Niners and being able to get a really important big win against a rival, which arguably, well, probably right now the Jags hate the most of any of the AFC South teams just because of the recent history. I think that could just do wonders for this team, especially again going back to what is coming in 2 weeks when they go to Houston and face the Texans. I mean, getting back on track going into that game, I think is really important. So yeah, we'll see how the Jags respond. As both you and I know, Ryan, I mean, this is genuinely a week-to-week league. Like, bad teams beat good teams. Bad teams can blow out good teams. Like anything, like taking anything for granted on the schedule can get you beat. I think it was Foy after the game. I saw it on X where he said, like, quote, like the NFL will humble you, end quote, or something along those lines. And that's very true. Like, we know the Titans have been really bad this year. They have all kinds of issues. They're 3-6. They can't protect Will Levis, all these things, this, that, and the third, but they cannot overlook Tennessee. And we know how Mike Vrabel gets this team going, especially in AFC South games where they have a really terrific record. And so I guess we'll see how the Jags kind of respond to the challenge this week.
Final moments, Ben Arthur, FoxSports.com and the Fox Sports app. He covers the AFC South, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Ben, it appears the Titans have handed over the reins to Will Levis. He'll get his first taste of the Jaguar-Titan rivalry on Sunday. And I found myself watching the Tampa Bay-Tennessee game last week, almost feeling bad for Levis, because as soon as he got the ball, the Buccaneers were hitting him. I mean, I think he got hit 13 times, sacked 4 times. I mean, that Titan offensive line is just awful. So if you're Josh Allen, if you're Trayvon Walker, you're watching the tape, you got to be licking your chops.
Yeah, you absolutely have to. And we know how big of it, like the tear Josh Allen has been on this season. Trayvon Walker, I think, had one of the best games we've seen from him, even though it came in a really bad loss. But I think from like a pressure rate standpoint and just activity level, we saw some good things. And going into a game where the Titans have the guy who's probably their second best offensive tackle on IR, and Nicholas Petit-Frere. Daniel Brunskill, their starting right guard, has been battling an ankle injury. We don't know if he's going to play. Andre Dillard, who's been the left tackle, has just been awful. The Titans have a lot of issues up front, And just to kind of get, you have to be licking your chops if you're that Jags defensive front, if you're Mike Caldwell going up against a rookie quarterback, because I think, as long as you can kind of disrupt that component of the game, like the pass game, because we know what Will Levis can do when he has time to be able to throw it downfield. So I think you take that away and you can hone in more on Derrick Henry, who, despite all of the O-line issues the Titans have, somehow is still second in the NFL in rushing yards. So I think if you can kind of take away the pass component by just overwhelming the O-line, you could really lock in on Derrick Henry, and then just being able to kind of take advantage, hopefully from an offensive standpoint, if you're the Jags, taking advantage of a defense that hasn't played to its standard from the last couple years. So I think if you're the Jags, you have to be licking your chops. But again, like, you can't take any game for granted, especially one in the division against a coach who thrives in division games.
No, there's no doubt Tennessee has caused Jacksonville a lot of heartache in years past. Ben, as we make the turn for home, you cover the division as closely as anybody nationally. I got to tell you, man, the AFC South got a lot of grief coming into the year. Yet you look at it as we approach Thanksgiving, Indianapolis, very quietly, 5-5, right in the thick of it. Houston would be in the playoffs if they started today. So would Jacksonville. Tennessee's obviously fallen off a little bit. But all in all, I think the AFC South, to this point, probably better than most people thought coming into the year.
Yeah, I think people probably had them as the worst division. But yeah, I think it starts with the quarterbacks, Ryan. I mean, there's a very legitimate chance that there are 4 franchise quarterbacks in this division, right? We know what Trevor is. CJ Stroud is clearly a franchise quarterback. Anthony Richardson showed enough from the Colts' perspective that they believe he's a franchise quarterback. Will Levis, I know, as we've talked about, that Bucs game was really rough, but it wasn't really his fault. And then in the 2 games prior to that against Pittsburgh and that incredible debut he had against Atlanta, like, he showed he can be a guy too, that he's a QB1. So, like, you think kind of, in the short and long-term future, I mean, it's really bright. Like, when was the last time, there were 4 young franchise quarterbacks in a division at one time? I can't think of a time where that has happened. And so I think you look at the outlook of the division in the next few years, like, assuming it kind of keeps on that trajectory, you could have the most exciting division in football in a few years' time. But again, I mean, Anthony Richardson needs to get healthy, and Will Levis needs to just play more, right? And Stroud will have to see if he can kind of keep up this historic, incredible tear he's been on. But you look at kind of what the proof of the pudding so far. I mean, yeah, the AFC South has an incredibly bright future. A good thing, for a division that has been the butt of jokes for many years.
And I'll tell you this, too. You look at the new coaches in this division. Shane Steichen looks like he's got something in Indy. You love what DeMeco Ryans is doing in Houston right now. Looks like a very positive thing for the division moving forward. Ben Arthur, FoxSports.com, and the Fox Sports app. Ben, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for the time. Let's hopefully have a good one between the Titans and the Jaguars on Sunday, and we'll talk again soon, my friend.
Sounds good, Ryan. Thanks again for having me.
Now, today's takeaways, brought to you by Key Buick GMC, where our family dealership has been helping families buy vehicles for over 50 years.
And thank you to Ben Arthur of FoxSports.com and the Fox Sports app for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. He covers the AFC South as the Jaguars and the Titans get ready to do battle this Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. My big takeaway of the evening, well, it's all about Jaguars and it's all about the Tennessee Titans. It's interesting how quickly narratives in the NFL can change. It was 5 days ago that we thought the Jaguars were one of the best teams in the NFL. And then Sunday happened, and Sunday was embarrassing, Sunday was humiliating, and really all week Now all of a sudden the Jaguars are no longer one of the best teams in the AFC or the NFL, certainly. But that can go back to changing the exact opposite direction again this week. We'll see what happens tonight with this Bengals-Ravens matchup. Kansas City plays Monday night against Philadelphia, and Jacksonville with Tennessee, right? If Jacksonville wins to get the 7-3, there is a scenario where once again they'll be tied in the loss column for number one in the AFC as a whole. But of course, if Jacksonville loses to fall to 6-4, then you got real problems going to Houston. If Philadelphia beats Kansas City, that puts 3 losses on them. One of these teams, Cincinnati or Baltimore, is going to lose tonight. Cleveland plays Pittsburgh on Sunday. That's another game that a team's going to lose to get the 4 losses. So it never changes is the point. The narrative will constantly continue to make itself and shift itself all the way through Thanksgiving, through Christmas, into the final weeks of the regular season. That's why it is an absolute marathon, man. It is not a sprint, but you got to win games. You got to win games, and that's why it's vital for the Jaguars to put last week behind them and go out there and take care of business on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. For the record, I believe they will. I think Jacksonville wins the game. I'm not sure if it's the most beautiful performance of all time, but I think the Jaguars do win the game on Sunday to get to 7-3. I think Houston beats Arizona to get the Texans to 6-4, and then you got a battle for first place in the AFC South a week from Sunday between the Jaguars and the Houston Texans. Well, that'll just about do it for what has been a very, very busy, a very active Thursday evening here on Hacker After Dark. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Ben Arthur, FoxSports.com, and the Fox Sports app covering the AFC South. Thank you to my man Brad Steele, Super Titan fan. He hosts the Two-Tone Talk podcast every Monday and every Friday covering the Tennessee Titans. Appreciate Brad joining me to give his perspective on the Titans side of this game coming up on Sunday against Jacksonville. Thank you to Jacob Rudner, 247sports.com, as the Florida Gators get back on the field on Saturday, taking on a Missouri team that is very good. Florida's got to find a way, right? If they want to go to a bowl game, they got to find a way to pull off a big upset, either this week at Missouri or certainly next week at home against undefeated Florida State. And my friend Leon Searcy joined me in hour number 1, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You get him every day on Prime Time, and you always get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Now, tomorrow night, Hacker After Dark turns in to the Friday Night Lights postgame, our final Friday Night Lights postgame of the year, round 2 of the FHSAA State High School Football Playoffs. We will be on immediately following Bowls and Rains on both 1010XL and 92.5 FM, and we will have Victoria's head coaches on all over Northeast Florida as round 2 of the FHSAA playoffs gets underway, and it should be a terrific night of high school football. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green, and again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Thursday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally here. Beaver's annual Black Friday silent sale. Every car on the lot will be discounted so low, we can't even show the prices on TV. Doors open at 6 a.m. Friday. First come, first served. And once they're gone, it's over. Plus, anyone who buys between 6 and 9 a.m. will get a big screen TV and $1,000 cash. Want more? We're giving away free oil changes between 6 and 9 a.m. The Black Friday silent sale only at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet. You don't want to miss this.
The best time of the year for blue crabs right now at the Blue Crab Crab House. They've been open since 1996, and they are a staple here in Duval. Sundays, you have the Bloody Mary specials, mimosas as well, $2.50 noon until 5 o'clock. Of course, each and every